But after I entered Doshishi University, I wanted to become a pastor. I found one book. That book is about the God. But after finishing the book, I found out that that book is the Japanese translation of the Islamic classics. It's written by the famous Syrian scholar. So I have sent an email to her husband, and we have met the small a cafe. But once he entered the cafe, he started crying. And I was so shocked. But he said that his wife has passed away because of the cancer. After he lost his wife, when he read my email, he said that he remembered a hadith saying that the amal, the deeds of the human being will continue even after he passed away and following the three conditions. So he found out that he didn't lose his wife. And I went to Egypt. And I spent first Ramadan there, so I tried fasting. And I was coming back from the language school. There was a person who called a gatekeeper, and he was eating one cucumber. Then, this cucumber isn't the reason that I became Muslim.
Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Naoki Yamamoto. Thank you for accepting our invitation. We are very happy to have you with us. So I want to start with, who is Naoki Yamamoto? Can you tell us briefly about your life, please?
Yes, so Salam, thank you very much for inviting me to this program. I'm Naoki Yamamoto, so I'm from Japan. I became Muslim at the age of 19, I think, about 19 years old. And after finishing PhD, I have moved to Turkey. So now I'm based in Istanbul. And currently I work as the assistant professor and lecturer at the Marmara University. I was born in the Christian family, but it's not kind of like practicing like a Christian. But my father and mother was reading the Bible, so the Bible is in the home, but it's not like really conscious like a Christian.
How was your life in regards to faith? What were you believing in?
Before even becoming Muslim, I believe in some divine being, but I didn't have a clear understanding of divinity or God. So that's it. And in Japan, it's really difficult to find even slight opportunity to contemplate about divinity or complain about religion. So I was not the atheist. This is what I'm sure. But I didn't have a chance to think about the religion. So
what was the thing that made you question your beliefs?
But after I entered Doshishi University, I was reading the other books of religion. I read the books of Taoism, I read the book of Buddhism, or I read the book of Shintoism. I found one book. That book is about the God. When I first read this book, I didn't know what this book was about. Because it didn't say, the name of the God. It didn't say about, the prophet. But after finishing the book, I found out that that book is the Japanese translation of the Islamic classics. And that book starts with the saying of the Kul daka shirak khafi, la yubayyin tawhidaka illa iza kharajat ank. It means that everything, your existence, your everything is a shirak khafi. The hidden, like shirk, the hidden polytheism. And unless you cannot overcome yourself, or you escape yourself, your tawhid, the hakikat tawhid, reality of tawhid, will never reveal to you. So this is the result of tawhid. The main aim of result of tawhid is that how superficial this dunya is, and how superficial our ego is, and how superficial our existence is, and how important for the humanity to know this reality and devote ourselves to one God, to Allah. And I have found out that this author was the female, a Japanese, a Muslima, a scholar. And also I found out that her husband was working in the same university. And I thought this is kind of a message. The English we call is a calling. And before that, I never had really structured education about religion. But even that book is less than 100 pages. I found out that book offers me the operation system. So I have sent an email to her husband, the professor. He himself is also a professor. And he replied to me, and we have met the small, a cafe next to the university. But once he entered the cafe, he started crying. He started bursting in tears. And I was so shocked because I didn't do nothing wrong. I didn't beat him or I didn't steal anything from him.
Don't do anything.
He said that his wife, the author of this book, has passed away a year ago because of the cancer. And he himself is also like a great scholar. Like he finished the PhD in Egypt. He got like various like ijaza from like many scholars. So he is also like an alim, like a Japanese like an alim. But after he lost his wife, he like suffered like so much because his wife is the only person he loved in his life, and also they have devoted themselves to serve like a Muslim, the community in Japan. I mean, like, they have sacrificed so much, but Allah gave him these like great challenges. So that's why he even like a question in Allah that why Allah giving him such like a great like a pain. When he read my email, he said that he remembered a hadith saying that the amal, deeds of the human being will continue even after he passed away, and following the three conditions. The one is as in the form of ilm, and second one is the sadaqah jariyah, and third is the prayer of the children. So he found out that he didn't lose his wife. His wife is still living as a book in ilm, and this ilm itself is also the sadaqah jariyah. And now this is like an 18 years old or 19 years old kid is studying about Islam as well. So this is what he said to me in a cafe. And this is my first encounter with Islam.
What was the major in the university that you attended?
So in the Shish University, I have entered the School of Divinity. So it's a theology. But this theology is not like Ilahiyat in Turkey. So this theology is a Christian theology.
So why did you choose that major? To learn more about Christianity?
Yeah, to learn more about Christianity. So at the time, I wanted to become a pastor.
So you were a kind of a spiritual person, and you wanted to satisfy that need that you had in Christianity.
Yeah, at the time, I think this.
Yeah. But you couldn't find what you were looking for in Christianity, or it was just the beginning of your university years?
I mean, I met this Muslim professor in May, and I have entered university in April. So it's just like 1 month.
Okay.
I entered the School of Theology, the Christian theology, but I met Muslim professor.
Yes, wow.
Yes.
And how did your journey towards Islam continue? What happened afterwards that you finally became Muslim?
So now after I met this professor in Jewish University, I got a private education from him. So I studied the classical Arabic language, and I studied some of the Islamic classics. And I went to Egypt to attend the intensive Arabic program. And I spent first Ramadan there. So I tried fasting. But what I found, or what I saw in Cairo was really inspirational. In Cairo, there was a culture called the Ma'idat al-Rahman. It's like a table of the Ramadan. So during Ramadan, people who are afford to prepare food, usually rich people or even celebrities, they prepare the food and they prepare on the street in a way that everyone can enjoy and eat the iftar. And it was so shocking because in Japan, individualism is really strong. And I was living in the shakka, a small apartment. And I was coming back from the language school. In the Cairo society, there was a person who called a gatekeeper, like a bawab, in every apartment. And there was one bawab is living in the ground floor of the apartment, and he was having iftar. And he was eating one cucumber. And his life is so decent. I mean, he's not a super rich person. So I'm pretty sure that this one cucumber is the only thing that he can have. And I was coming back to the apartment, and I saw him. And when he saw me, he gave me his cucumber. He said, "Tafaddal." He said, "You can have this cucumber." And it was so shocked because that is the only cucumber that he could have for iftar that night. But when he saw this non-Muslim, spoiled Japanese kid, he didn't hesitate at all to eat his cucumber. And everybody asked me why I became Muslim. Everybody tell, I mean, this is really typical experiences of the Muslim converts. Like everybody asked him that why they become Muslim or the story, the conversion. And I was telling them that this cucumber, and this cucumber isn't the reason that I became Muslim. I mean, the first encounter is always the book. It's a book written by the first Japanese female scholar. This is the first encounter. But the reason I made a decision to become Muslim is this cucumber. Because I told him that, in Japan, people don't talk about religion. But it doesn't mean that the Japanese are not religious or Japanese are atheists. Nothing like that. Like Japanese want to see the tangible like practice. Like yes, like people believe in like one religion. Then what do they practice based on it? And this cucumber, what I saw in Cairo, is the manifestation of the Islamic spirituality. That you live in a decent life, or your life may be difficult, or you're living in a society in Cairo like it may be difficult or so challenging. But there is something that we must believe in. There is something that we must practice based on it. So this is why, I mean, this Bawab, he's not like a scholar. He's not like a sheikh from the Azhar University, or he's not like a mufti of the Diyanet. Like he's just like one decent like a gatekeeper. And also, at the time, the Instagram or the YouTube is not widespread. That nobody is like taking the video of him like giving a cucumber, like just me and him. But he practiced it. He gave his cucumber. Why? Because he believes in Islam. This is when I saw the quwwatul iman, like a strength of the iman. That you don't have any like subscribers or you don't get any like money out of it, but you believe in Allah, so that's why He gave us the cucumber. So in my life, I can clearly say that is the moment that I am convinced that this Muslim believes in Islam. The Japanese want to see like practice, like application. Because right now, for example, like there are so many like TikTok celebrities or I don't know, like YouTube, like Imam or a Dawi or something. If you only like rely on words, it remains at a really like superficial, like discursive like level. And even when we read the hadith or we look back on the life of the Prophet, what he emphasized is, of course, like calling to Islam is inviting the people towards the right like faith. But this faith is not about like reading books. This faith is not about like giving lectures. So this faith is not about like giving like a khutbah in a jami. Of course, these are all the important things. But this faith, or just like give like one slight love or like compassion to the people who are in the difficulties. This is also like a religion. Like this is also their faith.
And then what happened that you became Muslim finally?
Oh yeah, so I became Muslim and I went back to Japan. My professor has a friend in Azhar University, and I went the Darul Ifta and I said Shahada, and that's it. But this really important thing is that the people expect some like a Iron Man or Spider-Man transformation from the like Muslim converts. How I met like a great sheikh and I'm touched by his iman, and when I say Shahada, like nur come into my heart. And everything looks so shiny. Of course, it may happen, but it didn't happen to me. Mm-hmm. But it is just I said Shahada and become Muslim. Mm-hmm. Like as I said, like, I'm not Spider-Man.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm just like ordinary human being. I became Muslim.
Yeah. What was the time duration between this cucumber moment and your Shahada? Like months or years?
I think like 2 or 3 days. Yeah.
This happened, and 2 years later, you became Muslim.
Yes.
Oh, mashallah. Wow. What impressed you the most about Islam?
What is my most about this cucumber? This cucumber, like so just you will see how individuals in Japanese society is.
Really?
Like I'm sure like nobody's give a cucumber.
They will keep it to themselves.
I guess.
So, have you ever experienced an extraordinary event where you felt that you had a special connection with maybe your praying being accepted in the most dire need? You had help.
Yes, I think when I felt a special connection with Allah is that This is the problem in humanity is that we always think that we are the center of the universe. That it means like we always think that we will do something like do great, or we will bring goodness to the Muslim communities. When I became Muslim, I thought I must do this to the Muslim communities, or without me, it's gonna be. I mean, who can do this without me or something like this kind of like a mindset, or like. I believe that there are so few like Japanese Muslim intellectuals in Japanese society, so that's why I need to make effort to show the guidance of something. That's kind of like arrogance. I mean.
As the Eternal Passenger Women Volunteer Team, with your help, we have already inspired many people to embrace Islam, wear hijab, and start praying. You can support this effort by clicking the Super Thanks button or donating to our Patreon to change even more lives, inshallah. Because we believe that changing one woman's life can shape the future of an entire generation. I'm
not saying this is arrogance. The other time it's pure intention. But when you grow up, you start to understand that there is a limitation in individual and the power. There are some like imam or like Muslim scholars who believe that they are the ones who bring like a goodness to the communities, but those kind of like mindset is a fake. It is a fraud. And Allah will decide who will be guided by Allah, who will be misguided, and we just know those big pictures. And this is something that I could never understand when I just become like a Muslim.
What are the biggest problems of Japanese society you think that Islam can solve?
I think biggest problem is just loneliness.
Yeah.
I mean, this is really a serious thing. In Japan, suicide rate is so high. At least like 20,000 people are gonna commit suicide. Like 20,000. Like it's so many. Year. Like this is unimaginable. Like 20,000 like people. Like this is almost like a civil war or something. And we don't know how to solve these issues. Now, because I saw there are so many young Japanese people who are like visiting masajid, mosque and masjid, or the Muslim like Dawah center or something, to see the human connection. And there was one of our friends, and he's a professor, and he was working in a cafe, and he was studying in a cafe, and there was one guy, talked to him, and they had a small conversation in a chat. And after the conversation, this Japanese guy said to him that, thank you very much for this kind of good conversation. This means that he never had this kind of even a small chat in the Japanese society.
Could Japan really become a Muslim country? I mean, can you picture that in your mind, and how likely is it?
I'm not sure it is a good idea to expect Japanese or Japan to embrace Islam in just like 5 years or like 10 years. Like it might happen because Japanese population is decreasing, and now we have like lots of like the foreign immigrants coming to Japan. So it might happen, but I'm not sure this is a good thing or not. And what is more important is not just like becoming Muslims or becoming a Muslim country. Because look at the other like Muslim countries. There are so many Muslim countries which are so corrupted, and also look at the non-Muslim countries. There are so many non-Muslim countries which are so corrupted. So what is important is that if we can build an intellectual heritage, in Islamic intellectual heritage in the Japanese societies. Like if those Muslims can show some new creativity to the Japanese societies, then what we must show is like this uncompromised spirit or the power of the intellectual like tradition to the Japanese society.
What impressed you the most about the Prophet ﷺ?
I think what I was surprised about had the power of resilience. Especially in a time in the Makkah, not the time Medina. Like when he was like the minority, the people don't understand what he was doing. Like this power of resilience is something that we miss right now. Just remember how many years the Prophet made a dawah in the time of Makkah. I mean, even the Prophet have faced such difficulty, and look at us. Like we are Nescafe people. Like we cannot see the outcome within 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Like we started to like blame or complain.
Dr. Naoki Yamamoto, thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
No, thank you very much.
Insights with us. Hope to meet you again in another project, inshallah.
Inshallah.